Good afternoon, everyone, and since it's such a cool, cloudy day, we're going to get started. Barbara. We're going to try to prevent heat stroke. Wow, so thank you so much. Hey, before I get started, by a show of hands, how many folks in the audience have had the pleasure of living in Parlin Dormitory? Wow, look at that. That's pretty amazing, huh? That is pretty amazing. Well, wonderful. Well, we're going to try and keep this short today, but it's a memorable experience. So thank you all for being here. I know there's a lot of things you could do on a very warm and sunny Silver Bay day, and we're just so pleased and excited that so many of you are here today. You know, it's only fitting that we rededicate the Parlin Dormitory today, as it exactly 68 years ago today, on August 9th, 1953, at exactly 2:30, the original program started. So exactly 68 years ago today. Isn't that amazing? You know, much has changed over the last 68 years, and maybe even over the last 68 days. You know, but the Silver Bay spirit, the mission of serving others and impacting others, the desire to support our young EMPs and to grow and mature into meaningful members of our society remains true today as it did 68 years ago. It is my honor and my privilege to stand here today on this rededication. I can vividly recall the conversation I had with Paul and Jane Ingray about this project a few years ago. We had a few key deliverables that we were looking into to ensure the space was safe, that it was inviting and comfortable, and it would serve the EMPs well. To close to the top of the list as well is that the space would be dry. That we could retire all those nicknames, which must not be named, to this building has acquired over the last 60 years. And to that end, if you get a chance later on, there's a poster board there, the before and after work underneath the building that contributed to those nicknames. I think we achieved all that. The building renovation was completed ahead of schedule and on budget. The former glacier that you can see in that picture we have over there, and if you take a peek underneath the building now, you'll see that we've had a wet summer and it's pretty dry underneath there. A project like this takes the efforts of many, and I would be greatly remiss if I didn't mention but a few. So I'd like to thank Justice Cameron and his team from the McKernan Group, who did all the various construction work and led this project. They were an absolute pleasure to work with. And to Kathy Suazo, who's our engineer, she couldn't be here today. She was tasked with coming up the design and the solution to all that water. And one of the things I said to her is we have to turn the swamp into a desert. And she did that wonderfully. She really did. And here, too, I must say that Kathy is a pleasure to work with if you ever need an engineer locally. Then thank you to folks like Carolyn Close and Trish and Laura Moody and Nick Brahma and Hannah J. and our maintenance teams and our housekeeping teams and countless other staff who work behind the scenes to make this project a success. And then to the many, many donors who gave so generously to bless forward, to bless future generations, to help fund so many aspects of this project. People like Cindy Richter and Pat Squire, Bill Baker and Alan Gugnon, the Clark family, the Jeckering family, the EMP class of 1969, the Fulcomers, the Parlin family, and just so many, many more. And a huge thank you to Paul and Jane Ingray, whose vision and passion and immense generosity to support the EMP program that made this renovation possible. So it is my pleasure to invite Paul Ingray to say a few words. Paul?
I didn't realize people would be sitting in the sun, so I'll try to make this very brief. It is a pleasure to be here, and thank you for mentioning everybody who also contributed. The Parlins were great. They did a lot of the internal ways that the EMPs can have fun. Particularly like to thank Cindy, because she stepped up. She asked to contribute. She wasn't asked. She stepped up, and at that time she was suffering from cancer. So she said she's well now. So Cindy, thank you. Thank you. I think she's forgotten this, but I was particularly a friend of her father's. And I remember one time we were in the lawn bowl finals together, and he beat me. But I was so glad to see so many old EMPs raise their hands. No, we did it before. But that's great. That's what Silver Bay is, the spirit of the Imps, the second mile spirit that Doc McConaughey emphasized. This Purple Mountain Majesties, all great stuff. But without the Imps, the Fulcomers and we were responsible with Kim Pacala for the capital campaign a few years ago. We specifically sought out the Imps and asked them to help us with the guests, help us really create a great time for the guests that came to Silver Bay, and they did it. They stepped up big. So Imps have always been an integral part of Silver Bay, and that's the real reason we wanted to do it. My first year here in 1957, I just graduated from high school, and I got assigned the room on the bottom by the swamp, by the creek, the brook, the Adams Brook, which became known as the swamp. In those days, it was a great room. It had a nice breeze. It was always against the side of the hill. It was terrific. But then, years later, things happened. So my first year, I taught archery here with the great Bobby Quayle, who taught for anybody longer than anybody except for Lanny. And the next year, I decided I wanted to hang out with Imps more, so I worked in the kitchen. And Blackie was the steward then. I got to know Blackie and Joan very well. We'd sit around in our loose hours. Unfortunately, Blackie assigned me the job of pot washer, which is the worst job at Silver Bay, for which at that point I got paid $1 a day.
The good old days.
They're really good old days, right? And unfortunately for me, the end of that year, I decided with my friend Bob Burles that we go out on our very last day and go to Ticonderoga and have a brew. Well, somebody reported us. The next morning, Doc McConaughey called us in and said, you know, I really would be good for Silver Bay if you never came back here again. Absolute truth. The same thing actually happened almost to my friend Paul Fulcomer, too. He was asked never to come back. Almost asked. But he got Harold Klein to come in and help him out. So, how did this happen? I ran into an imp who told me about the lung disease about 6 years ago. That they called the imps were getting sick for a week, 10 days, and they called it the Parlin disease. And I thought, that's no memorial for Ed Parlin. I mean, this was in his honor. This was here to.
Can't hear you.
Sorry, this was for the honor. I'm sorry, you guys decided to sit in the shade. That's your fault. Well, thanks for telling me you can't hear me. Is that better? Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. So remember the LT program, and the LT program. Where's Joe? Joe and Kelsey. The LT program have been a terrific addition to Silver Bay. And one day, Fulcomer and I are out at night in the clout chute, and Kelsey Testa comes up to me. We're talking to her, and I said to Kelsey, remember this? I said to her, what worries you about Silver Bay? And Kelsey said,
I just said the safety of the health of the students staying in Parlin.
So I told Paul this, and I went back and talked to Jane. And Jane said, you know, I think it's time we did something about this. And that was the beginning of what you're looking at today. So thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thanks everybody for coming.
Let's pray together. Gracious God, today we bow before you, our holy and eternal and loving Father, with hearts bursting with joyful thanksgiving and gratitude for who you are and what you have done, and for all that you are yet to do. We bless your holy name through your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. We thank you for your never-failing goodness. We confess that the gathering of this people we know and love as Silver Bay was your idea, not ours. And yet, in your grace and mercy, you invited us and united our hearts and minds and spirits to become a people who would love you with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength in this place. You continue to show us that it is in that love that we are called and empowered to love others. We thank you. We don't have to tell you, Father, how important place is to your people. You understand that Silver Bay is full of meaningful places. Slim Point, Bay Beach, Sunrise Mountain, Inspiration Point, the boathouse, the Irk, the Inn, the William Boyd Center, the store, Fisher Gymnasium, the auditorium, Helen Hughes Memorial Chapel, and many others. For those of us who have spent time at Silver Bay, such places are etched into our collective memory. Things that have happened in those places have shaped our lives in significant ways. Thank you for this sense of place. Thank you for places we call home and church, camp, campus, where we meet you in expanding ways, places where our experience with you and with one another deepens, places where you become larger in our understanding, places where we learn your story and our place in it. Parlin Dormitory is one of these places. So what a privilege and a joy it is, Father, to be in this place for this purpose today. We can only imagine the excitement when this building first opened in 1953, and how many have walked through these halls and slept in these dorm rooms, talked late into the night in these lounges, and met lifelong friends, and in some cases spouses, moved on in their lives to do many great things and have a profound impact by carrying the second mile spirit home with them, around our country, and in many cases around our world. We praise you for this place that draws fresh excitement and joy from us today. As we know, our Father, that places like this don't just happen. You give dreams to leaders. You give wisdom to engineers and architects. You give skilled craftsmanship to those who put it all together. You stir the hearts of donors so that resources are provided to make this dream a reality that we see today. Thank you for the donors with the generous hearts who made Parlin Dormitory possible. Thank you for every dime, dollar, and donor who chipped in a little something to make it happen. We pray a hedge of protection around the EMPs who have lived here this summer and who will live here in the future. Thank you for their hard work and dedication to the mission of Silver Bay YMCA. Lord, keep this place from evil, protect those who live in it from harm. May the Silver Bay EMPs enjoy this place and be blessed by the shelter and comfort that it provides in this beautiful setting we call Silver Bay. We ask all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Hello. Thank you all so much for coming out on this really hot day. It is greatly appreciated. And thank you, Garth. Thank you, Steve and Paul, and thank you all. This is an incredible milestone for us to celebrate. And there's no doubt that the EMPs have been a key element in defining Silver Bay's culture for a great many years. But whether you've stayed in Parlin or not, or whether you have even been an EMP or not, you've been part of the culture that makes Silver Bay extraordinary. You each have your own unique stories of how you came to know and love Silver Bay. If you are an EMP, I am sure that you each have a few yarns about your own summers, whether they were in Parlin, on the Irk, or anywhere else on campus. And I'm sure that you each have a Silver Bay moment in mind that will bring a smile to your face. It is those stories, those moments, those experiences that may have changed your life that make Silver Bay YMCA the extraordinary place that it is today. So thank you for being part of what makes Silver Bay what it is. Your love, your kindness, your support has transformed Silver Bay for the better. And through your support, a new generation of EMPs will create their own stories in Parlin, experience their own life-changing moments, and fall in love with Silver Bay, just as you all have, in the halls of this renewed, revitalized building. Thank you. Paul has one of the original shirts on. You'll have to go see Paul and check it out. Now the EMPs have spruced the place up for you, and I hope that strolling the halls and checking out the space will bring back plenty of your own memories of dorm life. And rooms 208, 209, and 309 are open for you to see, with our COO Carolyn Close, as well as our Parlin RA Kathleen Leonard, here to chat with you about dorm life. There's also cookies and tea and lemonade for you to enjoy if you need to cool off and haven't had a chance to enjoy that yet. And also many thanks to some great music from our favorite bluegrass band, the James Pond Boys. And thank you very much for being here and celebrating with us. Now, if you would please direct your attention over to the staircase, I would ask Steve and Paul and Jane to help complete our dedication with our ribbon cutting. Thank you.
No. How about How about this? Here, you grab one end.
What about if we miss?
Ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3.
I think we missed. You do it. There
Hey! One is open! Okay! Where were you? Oh, yeah. Shane's on the inside.
Of course I love that.
I promise, just take some. Look, I like that someone said, sounds like you're going to take a gap year. That's what someone told me. So, I think that's going to be a little bit. Yeah, I don't have it. It's not like I'm starting to take a gap year. We'll catch up more. Absolutely. Go ahead.